Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, where you can discuss everything that is important to you. Careers, finances, entrepreneurship, marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families, and we discuss these topics every day because we know that there are issues of life that people are dealing with, and we want to be here at the command of God to assist in addressing the issues of life. And today's broadcast, as always, is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water, this is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And we want to share with all of our listeners and viewers, we don't want to be disconnected from you. We want to be connected with you throughout the week. And so we want you to tune in to our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. So I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers also, we've got a lot going on. First of all, for those of you who don't know, if you're new to the channel, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So if you're ever in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. I'm really right now trying to make certain that all of our technology is functioning properly. So I will ask you to bear with me as I go through this process, but we've got a lot going on at New Life Christian Center, and we invite everyone to come and experience what we are experiencing, and that's what we mean when we say come and experience a better quality of life. We also want to make certain that no one deals with food insecurities or that no one is dealing with hunger, and the way that we do that is through our public charity, which is New Life Food Source Pantry. And so if you know someone that's dealing with the issues of hunger or food insecurities, have them contact us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will give them instructions on how they can receive food from our New Life Food Source Pantry. And so I want to make sure, and as I can see, we are having some technical difficulty, and it appears, for whatever reason, we've been dealing with some technology challenges. But we ask that all of you will stay with us on the journey as we try to get it straight, and that you will continue with us on this journey. So, as I mentioned, if you know someone that's dealing with food insecurities or is dealing with issues of hunger, have them contact us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will give them instructions on how they can receive food from our New Life Food Source Pantry. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll move on, is that we have a gospel jazz concert coming up on Sunday, November the 9th, from 1 to 3 p.m. So our tickets are available for $35. There are still some tickets that are available. We will be having a meeting tomorrow to determine just how many tickets are available, because tickets are selling out. You don't want to miss this. So not only are we having professional jazz musicians come in and play jazz, but we also are having chicken and waffles, we're having sausage, we're having a brunch. So it is a jazz brunch. And we want you to come out and experience, but most of all, we want you to come out and support. The money raised will, of course, go to support our Food Source Pantry, so that we can make certain that people don't deal with food insecurities and they don't have to deal with hunger. So again, that's Sunday, November the 9th. If you would like tickets, you can Zelle on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will make certain that you have tickets, but definitely you need to get on that right away, because tickets are going fast and we are going to be sold out. I can tell you that we are going to be sold out. So we encourage you not to miss that at this time. So, having said that, I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. Remember, the jazz concert is on Sunday, November the 9th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Doors will open at 12:30 p.m. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have been engaged for a very long time, and you said you're now ready to be married, and you would like to know how to get your significant other to get him ready to be married and prepare for a wedding. And so my response to that is that you just have to start planning the wedding. You get him involved, but you're going to have to start planning the wedding. You're just going to have to make the decision that you're going to take over the planning of the wedding, and then just get him involved. Start asking him questions. You've been engaged for a very long time. There's no reason for him to deny you the privilege of having your wedding. So you just need to start having conversations with him about planning the wedding. And what I mean by that is this. Just start gathering brochures for a venue. Start looking at color schemes. Talk to, wedding planner. If that's the direction that you're going to go, start talking to florists. You want to start having these conversations now. And you want to include him as much as possible. Start talking to bakers about the cake. You want to start talking, and depending on the venue that you use for your reception, much of it can be done in-house. You can not only get rooms for people that may be coming in from out of town, but you can also do everything in-house with regard to food, cake, beverage, that type of thing. But you've got to start. You've got to start somewhere. It's not that he doesn't want to get married. It's that he keeps putting the finances in order along with you. You all have been saving your money. You've been putting your money aside. So that's, in his mind, that's part of planning. But you've been engaged a long time. So now that you've been engaged a long time, you want to engage him in getting involved in the process of planning the wedding. Now, having said all of that, if there's things that he chooses not to be involved in or engaged in the planning process, then he'll tell you And what you can do is move forward, because what he's basically saying to you, and this is how some people get confused, because what he's basically saying to you is, I don't need to be involved in everything. However, the things that I am going to get involved in, like negotiating the venue, the things that I'm going to get involved in, whether or not I like the cake, that the chefs have offered, the things that he desires to be involved in, he'll get involved in. But you got to start the planning. If you don't start the planning, he's going to continue just saving money until you get to the point where, there's nothing left to do as far as saving money for the wedding. It's just time for a wedding. So, you know what you want your wedding to look like. My eyes are itching, so pardon me. You know what you want your wedding to look like. You know what you want to experience. Get him involved. And you'll find that once you get him involved and you start the planning process, he'll get on board and he'll be engaged. And the things that he doesn't feel that he needs to be involved in, he won't be involved in them. I will share with all of you, when my wife and I got married, it was, I did get involved in negotiating the venue. I actually chose the venue. And I chose the hotel, the banquet facility. I let her deal with the florist. I let her, and I did, participate in what kind of cake we would have and, what kind of food we would have. I sampled some things. I went to the meetings. I sampled a few things. But overall, I knew she knew what she would want. And to me, it was a matter of, the logistics, because we had people come in from out of town. It was, the right venue, because we wanted it to be a nice experience, not only for ourselves, but for our guests. So those are the things that were important to me as a man. But the things that were important to her, like the table settings and the florist and all of that, those are things that she was directly involved with the hotel and planning and all of that. I didn't get involved with that because I'm not the flower guy. But I'm saying to you, he'll do the same thing. Men are wired. Listen, for everyone out there, men are wired differently than women. There's just no getting around that. We're wired differently. Now, that doesn't mean that some men don't have some traits that might overlap. Because some men might like flowers. They might like horticulture. But having said that, most of us are wired to only be concerned about certain things. And we're not gonna, and I like to use the analogy, stay in your lane. So we're not gonna cross lanes. I'm an old athlete, so if you're running a race, you're not gonna get in somebody else's lane because you get tripped up. So you stay in your lane. You're ready to get married, and he's still saving for a wedding. And it's not because you haven't saved enough. It's just that he's saving until you say, we need to set a date, and I need to begin the process of planning for the wedding. Because the man's not even going, let me just go one step further. Men are not going to even be responsible for setting the date, in the sense of they're not going to choose the season, because there's hair and there's makeup and there's all these other things involved, and there's geography involved because you got heat in one part of the country, you've got cooler temperatures in other parts of the country. So men aren't going to tell you what date they want to be married, what season they want to be married. Let me rephrase that. But they're then going to look at their calendar and see with you to see what date works best. When do you think would be best for your friends, family and friends to be available? When do you think it would be best for your business schedules? We are one-minded. And what I mean by that is we're only thinking of one thing at a time. Most of us. There's exceptions to every rule. Women, you tend to think about, you got 10 fingers, you'll think about 10 different things. Men, not so much. We're gonna focus on one thing at a time. Now that doesn't imply that we can't have some tentacles from that one thing, but we're gonna focus on one thing at a time. So his focus has been saving money to prepare to give you the wedding you desire, putting money aside for that. It was, I'm gonna buy a ring, get engaged, then I'm gonna put money aside for the wedding. That's what he's doing. He's doing his part. He expects you to be planning in your mind what you want the wedding to look like. And then men will wait until you come to them and say, I'm ready to set a date. And then they will sit down with you, look at the calendars, they'll look at the dynamics, the geography, and then set a date. You just have to start planning the wedding. You have to sit down with him and start literally planning out your wedding. And whatever he wants to be engaged in, he'll be engaged. If he doesn't want to be involved in a certain aspect of it, he won't engage. And translation, he won't get in your way. Because that's really what it's about, not getting in the way. But to God be the glory as you both continue to move forward. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I want to remind everyone, we are in the process of launching a food drive, and you will be able to go to I will tell you the date when it's launched, but you will be able to go to 2 places to drop off food for our food drive. Now, one of them will be Citizens Bank on Concord Pike. You'll be able to go in, drop off some non-perishable items, and particularly the canned goods. That's canned goods or spaghetti or anything in the box or can. You'll be able to drop those off. And I will announce the date when we're going to start the food drive, but I just wanted to give you advance notice that that's the process we're going to be entering into. And the other one will be at the at the golf course where we have our golf tournament, and that will be, you will be able to drop off at Rock Manor. So we will keep you updated as we launch the food drive. I'll give you the dates, but there's so much going on that I have to try and give it to you as we go. Because there's a lot going on at New Life Christian Center, and at New Life Food Source Pantry. So just keep watching on Facebook. Stay tuned in. I'll make some announcements. Come and worship with us on Sundays at 10 a.m. at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. You'll hear some of the things that are going on. But we have a lot going on, and we want you to be involved. We want you to participate. We want you to experience the great quality of life that we're all experiencing. And that's giving back, giving of ourselves and giving back to others. and in that being blessed. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you keep going from one relationship to the next, however, none of them last, and you want to know why you are having problems with relationships. So I'm just going to say this, and I need you to take this in the spirit it's intended, because there's only one common denominator in every relationship that you've been in, and it's you. So you have to realize that some of the relationships that you've been in have not been conducive for you to be in a relationship. They've been conducive for you to have someone to hang out with and to enjoy yourself, and I get it. Not really, but I get it, because that's the way the culture is living. That's the way, society is moving right now. But for a lasting relationship, you have to recognize that a lasting relationship will never last without a solid foundation or stability. If the foundation is shaking constantly, it's never going to be solid. It's never going to be a solid foundation. And you want to build relationships on a solid foundation. And a solid foundation requires you to be placed in one place, in one position, and remain there. The problem is that you like to move around, and that's a common thing in society today, with particularly millennials. Now, I don't want people to interpret that I just sit around and bash millennials and think that, you all are out of control, because that's not what I think. What I think is that you all are following the herd, that you're doing whatever everyone else is doing. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody, you all are just moving around, trying to find your footing, but you're not standing on solid ground. You're not standing on a foundation. You're moving around trying to find your footing. And so you have to really examine yourself and say, okay, what am I doing that results in my relationships coming into an end? How am I building or destroying relationships? And then you have to decide how to maximize the quality of your relationship. So that's really the problem that you're having, is that the problem isn't the men that you become involved with. The problem is you choosing to be involved with the wrong type of men. So remember, there's the common denominator of you. That's the common denominator. So I will say to all of our listeners and viewers, whether it's relationships, or whether it is careers, or whatever, whether it's your quality of life, it all begins with you, with us as individuals. It begins there. What do I want to accomplish in life? What do I want out of life? What do I want to put into life? What do I want to achieve that is going to allow me to maximize my quality of life? So that has to be a constant examination. I'm not going to preach today. You can come to New Life Christian Center on Sunday, 10 a.m., or tune into our virtual sanctuary at 10:45 a.m. on Sundays if you're not in our area. And you'll hear a lot about quality of life, because that's what was promised to us. But it's promised to us if we go and get it. So what does that look like for us? We have to make conscious decisions. We have to be renewed. Our mind has to be renewed daily. We can't follow the herd, and that's part of the problem. We can't conform to what everyone else is doing and, chasing the next shiny thing. And it has to be about standing on a firm foundation. But if you don't know what that foundation is, you can't stand on it. If you don't know what it looks like, you can't stand on it. But just remember, every foundation has to be put in place. It doesn't require us to be moving around. It requires us to be put in position to build on. And so, as far as relationships are concerned, that's what causes disruption in relationships. It's generally us. It's you. We're always the common denominator. So we really have to examine ourselves and make the decisions to renew our mind every day, be intentional about the life we're living, and get the most out of the life that has been given to us. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need: shirts, suits, socks, accessories, anything that a man needs. Charles Tyrwhitt has it. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at c2shirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from both Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com and The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated your sister thinks she's God's gift to the world, and she says that you are jealous because you're married with children and you can't live the way she lives. Well, here's the reality. You are living life. She wants to live life. She's searching for a life to live. But as an individual, she's not living life. She thinks she's living her best life. I get it. However, I always go back to be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. So that's part of our assignment here. It's not live independently, party all the time. That's a song made by Eddie Murphy. Party all the time and no, that's not life. That's living, but you want to live life. So she wants the same. She's telling you that you're jealous, but in reality, she's the one struggling with being alone, being independent, and trying to figure it all out. So I would encourage you to just, even though, she's giving you a lot of attitude, I would just encourage you to keep encouraging her to find a better way to live this life. And it will begin with a relationship with Christ. I don't know any other way to say that, because that's the only way we're ever all going to get to where we're going. There's always going to be a hole in our soul without a relationship with Christ. I don't concern myself with what anybody else says. I know what I've seen. I know what I've lived, and the experience with Christ has given me such a great quality of life that I only want that for my fellow man. So encourage her to just realize the life she's living right now, and it can be so much better. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding.